Okay, right. I'm going to set myself a challenge now. I'm going to try and create a digital map and make it interactive in the entire time it takes me to do this tutorial video. So I'm going to start off by using Adobe Illustrator. So Adobe Illustrator, and I'm going to do this literally from scratch, thus demonstrating to you guys exactly what you need to do. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to get a map, and I'm going to get a map of an area that's quite dear to my heart. It's where my family spent about 250 plus years because they're still there, and it's the island of Portland in Dorset. So I'm going to get a map of Portland, and oh no, that's Portland, Oregon, I believe, which is what everyone always says when I say, oh, my family are from Portland, but no, I'm talking about this Portland. And there it is, there's my map. So what I'm going to start with is a very, very simple screenshot of this. So what I'm going to do is Command Shift, because I'm using a Mac. If I do Command Shift and 4, you'll see that I get a screenshot come up on my desktop. There it is. And I can use that. I either want to save it or not save it. I might just selectively do it. So in a Mac, I don't know if you know, but if you go Command Shift and 4, you can actually get this crosshair alert. So I can actually just select this bit of the map. Woohoo! And then the map then comes out on the desktop. So there it is. And that is now a map. And I click done, and then it's my screenshot. So I'm going to create a new file. My map is going to be actually, you know what, I can do this another way. So if I want to make it exactly the same dimensions as my map here, what I could do is open this one with Adobe Illustrator. That's going to give me a straight artboard that's the same size as the map. So there's my map. Okay, now I've got to create a graphic style. I want to make this into a graphical style. I'm not going to use Google's map because that's their graphical style. I'm going to make my own graphical style. So in order to do that, I need to save a graphical style. So, and what I can do is I can crop this around the page. If I draw a rectangle around an object, okay, and then select the object in the front and the object at the back, I can then right click on it and make it a clipping mask. That then just clips it to the artboard. Lovely, lovely, nice and tidy. So now I want to create a graphic style for my road. So what I do is I start off with a basic line, and then I look at my line style. So let's just close all these announcements that are coming up on my Mac. Later. So if I look at the properties of this line at the moment, and I go to appearance, I see that it's got no stroke and it's got no fill. What I want to do is I want to make a stroke that's like road colour. So I am going to use a white. So if I want to get my colours up, I need to get my colours. And there's my colour. So I'm going to make the stroke. Click there, click on white. Okay, now my stroke is white. Make it 5 points. Then I'm going to add another stroke by clicking here. Make this stroke black. Okay, and make that 8 points, something like that. So there you go. Now I've got my road. I'm going to do it as a kind of graphical style. So actually I'm going to use the yellow instead of white. So I want my roads to be yellow, or at least my main road there to be yellow. So I'll just change the stroke colour there to yellow. Now when I'm happy with that stroke style, what I can do is get the selection tool and then drag this into here, and then I've got my graphic style. So now what I want to do is I want to start with a new layer. So I get my layer, and that's my map layer, layer 1. Layer 2 is going to be where I put my roads. So I get my pen tool, and I just start clicking on the path, clicking and pulling, okay, just to make and trace the same path as the roads. So there we go, there's one. And when I get this point, and I need to get out of that, I can press the escape key and it will just get me out of creating that path. What I'm then going to have is a load of paths here, and those paths will correspond with the actual road that I'm making here. Okay, so this is the main roads that go through the island of Portland. Okay. So here we go, and again I'm just tracing a path. If you don't want this mine's coming up as yellow at the moment because I've got a stroke here, but actually when I do the paths, really what I want to do is have none. So I have nothing on here at all. I'm just looking at making these paths, okay, that give me the main roads that go through Portland. So then let's just do one more. Wide street, named because it is very wide, and it was made wide so that they could get the stone from the quarries here to St. Paul's Cathedral when Sir Christopher Wren designed St. Paul's Cathedral. A little bit of history there. Now, if I click this on my layer 2, all of these, within this layer 2 over here, I've got lots of different paths. Now, to target all those paths, I need to target them all. So if I click on this one, I can target them all. And that way they then all get selected. Now I can apply my graphic style. So if I do that, you can see that they now look like paths. Then if I use my direct selection tool, I can then kind of move these bits and like move the anchor points a little bit closer, make these dissect. And you'll see that as I'm making these roads dissect, it's actually closing up the paths. Okay, so you can kind of tweak your map roads so you can make these paths kind of intersect there, creating this kind of image. Now I've got my roads. Okay, so there's this is how my map's beginning to shape up, and that's lovely, lovely. That's all I really want, but obviously I've got to trace around the landmass. The rest is blue, so I use my pen tool. I get another layer. I'm going to go around the land now, so this is going to be the terrain. So all I'm going to do is draw a really simple shape, and the shape is going to be of the island of Portland. So here we go, and I'm just roughly tracing around the shape of the island. Okay, it doesn't need to be exact. Remember, this is a graphical representation at the end of the day. The Google Maps is based on an aerial view, so it's actually like much more physically exactly the same. Mine is going to just be a rough sort of graphical representation so that people can find certain things within the island of Portland. Okay, my map is going to serve the purpose of pointing out the various villages. So once I've got my path there, I can then fill my path. It's land, so I may wish to pick a colour from here. I can do that by using my dropper tool, and that will then give me that colour. So now I've coloured my land in the colour of the land. If I move that underneath my roads, I've then got the land and the roads. If I then want to do blue of the sea, I can then do my rectangle here. This is now a rectangle, but I want this to be blue. So I'm going to find some sea blue, lovely, lovely. Select some bluey kind of colour, and that's a little bit sort of like too much like the grass, so really I want this to be blue like the sea. Okay, there we go, blue, and then move that down again, so that rectangle is under my road paths. Ideally I want the sea to be on another layer actually, so if I make a new layer here, I can move that rectangle into layer 4. Then that layer 4 can go underneath everything else. That way I've got the land, I've got the sea, and I've got the road. Okay, I might want to do an outline on my land mass. So my land mass is here. Again, maybe I should split that. So I'm going to make another parflet, and I'm going to put my land here. So I've got these separate layers, and if you want to animate, especially in Flash, it's good to have everything on different layers. So my one layer is my roads, that's the bottom map that I'm tracing from, and that is my graphical representation there. Okay, I can then add text. I can then call it the Isle of Portland. What I might want to do is go back into this layer. There's my path. As you can see, there's no stroke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little stroke on there, just so it's got a bit of an outline. Go into appearance, make my stroke a little bit thicker. So thicken that up. Yep, you can see there's no stroke there. Obviously I do want a stroke there, so I'm going to make that stroke black, and make it maybe not 5 points, maybe just a bit thinner than that. So there you go, right. Now I've got my basic map, okay, and I might want to put some text on it so I know where that is. Isle of Portland. Dorset, so that people know where it is. Another thing that I can add, okay, is I can add some other vector images. So if I go to a website called Vecteezy, I can then find loads of different images that I can download. So if I look for C, for example, go to free license, here's some vector images that other people have made. Now I can borrow those images because they are free license. So let's say I want this quite nice C vector. I'm going to download this. Okay, there you go, and it doesn't take very long to download. Here it is. Okay, and when I open that file, what's nice is that file, okay, is going to come up as a nice kind of vector file. It's a lovely vector image. If I drag it into Illustrator, you'll see it comes up straight as an actual beautiful vector file, and all of the vectors within that I can then also select. Another way of doing it, if you're working on a Mac, okay, is you get your documents that you want to open, and if you drag your document to EPS is the vector file. If I drag it to Illustrator, it will open it with Illustrator. So then when it's open in Illustrator, you can see I can select all these different elements, which is quite cool. It does mean that I can like get the whole wave, copy that, go into my image. Okay, that's a bit big, so I'm going to scale it down, zoom out a bit, scale it down. Also, if you've got graphical images like this and you want to do multiples of them, so I'm going to just repeat this, I can hold the Alt key, and when I hold the Alt key and drag something, it creates a repetition of it. So I can repeat the pattern just to basically show people that there's the sea, you know, and that this island is surrounded by the sea. Okay, ta-da, ta-da. And then there is a basic, very basic map. Okay. The things that I want to animate here, though, are the main sort of towns, and maybe I'm going to show people where the pubs are. So if I want to show people where the pubs are or where they can eat or restaurants, I can go to pub signs in Vecteezy. I can look for free license pub symbols or signs. You could search for symbols. You can search for anything on Vecteezy. It's a very useful resource for finding different signs. Maybe if I go pub map symbol, you know, what you search for will be, you know, based on what search criteria you put in there. Symbols, symbols, symbols. Okay, so let's say I quite like these legend symbols. These are quite good. So I can download this. Again, it's free. It's a free license vector, so it can be used copyright free. That's going to go to my downloads folder. There it goes. And then what I can do is open up my map legends, drag this into, it's already an Illustrator file, so that's fine. Click yes, click yes. There you go, that's opened that. Now I've got all of these different signs, right? So let's say I want to use one of these to show people a couple of elements within the map. If I copy this one and I screenshot that and I paste it onto my map of Portland, and then maybe I'm going to show people where the castle is. So there's a castle in Portland over here. So I'm going to use that as a link so that people can click on this and they can see a castle. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that again because I want to get all of the elements that are in it. Okay, so let's just get my selection tool. I could use any of these things really. That's what I want. So if I copy that and then paste that, there you go. You've got your legends. I might want to use that compass sign as well, because I could use that, couldn't I? But that's your general sort of thingy sign, and if you've got a couple of things on your map you want to signpost people to that they're going to click on, again, hold the Alt key. So there's Portland Bill, the lighthouse is down here, so I'm going to signpost that. St George's Church is up here, and the castle is here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this map. I lost my text somewhere. I don't even know this is the Isle of Portland, so I'm just going to draw that again. Isle of Portland, Dorset. All right. Now what I'm going to do is just use this map, and I'm going to make it interactive, right? So if I decide to tweak, I might tweak this path, for example, add like a fill to it, you know, just to make it stand out a bit more. There you go. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to save this file, all right, and I'm then going to open this file with map. Alright, and I'm now going to open this file with InDesign. So I need to find InDesign, and I'm going to use InDesign to make it interactive. Okay, so let's just open Adobe InDesign. There it is. It's opening. I'm going to keep Illustrator open because I want to use this symbol here to copy and put and make an interactive element on my map. So let's go to InDesign, and then I can InDesign document, go like that, create, and it's up to you to sort of fill this. What I could do if I'm making an interactive element, and now if I go to place, I can then place an image over this page. I'm going to use the image I've just made, so map AI, because I can open directly from Illustrator. There it is, it drops straight on. I might decide that within this design, because this is part of my leaflet, I might now decide that after I've done the interactive elements that I put some stuff around here. So decorate this with maybe some arrows showing different bits. But until then, what I'm going to do is just change my frame, and then with the frame I'm going to go into the fitting and fit the contents of the frame. That way it'll just snap it to this blue frame so it's in the middle of my web page. Now, when I want to make it interactive, okay, it's a very simple process, a little bit like making an interactive PowerPoint. So I look at my pages, I've got one page. Now I want to copy that page, so again, hold the Alt key down, drag it down, you get another page, exactly the same copy as this page. But on this second page, I'm going to make a shape up here, okay, and I'm going to put some text in that, and I'm going to call it my home button. So this will become the button that people click on in order to go home. Okay, if I want to change my font size, I can make this bigger, 24, get the thing, make it fit. Right, so this is my first kind of button, and again, if I right click on it then, so I get my options, I can make a new hyperlink. Now, the home button needs to take me home, so it needs to take me to another page in this document, and that page will be page number 1. Okay, but what I also want is some elements showing me what's where. So I want to copy from Illustrator, I want to copy this thing, because that is the thing that I need. Okay, in terms of that, so if I just select it, press the copy, Control C, Control or Command V, and now I've got this little symbol which I can place over the top of this symbol, but I can then make this one into my hyperlink. Okay, it needs to be on page 1. So now I'll just pop this symbol over the top of this symbol. I can nudge it left and right so that I line it up exactly, and then Control click, right click, or new hyperlink, link this to page 2, and this is where the castle in Portland is. So again, if I go to the website, Portland Castle, search for some information about Portland Castle, there it is, English Heritage, it's got its own website. Now I could either link this page, I could either make this hyperlink link to a website, so I could link it directly to the website. Or what I can do, which is what I'm going to do, I can make it link to page 2, and then on page 2 I can make page 2 come up with some information about the castle. So I'm just drawing a little box here. I'm going to colour it green, okay, and then I'm going to put some text in it. I'm going to copy Portland, some stuff, some bump. There you go. Portland Castle. There's some bump. Copy that. Paste it into there. And then maybe I want an image, so I can take an image. Going to take the website address as well because I want to put that in here. And then people can also then click on that web address. Maybe I'll put an image on this page as well. So let's find an image of it. There's an image of it. I might just copy that. So save image to downloads, or even I can just copy the image, and when I go in here I should just be able to paste it. Okay, place my image, which is in downloads. There it is. Get a selection, make the frame smaller, move it over, put it where I want it. With these frames, don't worry too much about what the image is doing, because once you've got it, you can just right click on it, and then you go to fitting, and then you fit the content to the frame, and it will fit it to the frame. So there it is. Now this, if I check my hyperlink, when I right click on here, I've got the hyperlink here. If I go edit hyperlink, it's taking me to page 2. So that should work really fine, and then the home button will take me back to page 1. So now if I want to export that, I can export it as an interactive PDF. Okay, and I do that by clicking Adobe Interactive Map. Let's test it. So I'm going to call it test. Go like that, export, okay, and then see what happens. It looks like this. When I click on this, it takes me here. When I click on that, it takes me back there. And that is how you make your interactive map. It can be exported to HTML5 as well, but in terms of when you guys hand it in, if you want to hand it in as an interactive PDF, that's fine. There is a more advanced way of creating animations, and that's by using Flash or Adobe Animate. And there are videos in the announcements, but hopefully that video is enough to show you, 1, how to make your basic map design, and then 2, how to create buttons to make it interactive like this one. Okay, right, happy mapping.